Helldivers 2, big future updates, juicy new amazing content.
Fellas, I am recording this audio at approximately 9:12 Eastern, February the 15th. Now, you may be wondering, Cross, why are you giving us the exact time and date? That's because
Yeah.
by the time this video comes out, things inside of Helldivers 2 may have already changed. Fellas, today we're going to be talking about the future of Helldivers. Many of you have been coming by the stream asking, what's the future of Helldivers 2? Is it a live game? Am I going to be coming back to play it after I initially level up? What is the end game? Which is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to take this moment to actually shout out our Discord. The reason why I'm doing this, there's a number of you that have been looking for fellow Helldivers to do runs with, and the matchmaking inside of Helldivers is pretty bad. So if you are looking for a team, down below will be a link to our Discord. You can
I mean, those are options, honestly.
Now, it's been over a week since we started blasting aliens and robots in the name of liberty. And to please General Brash, we've successfully completed our first major order by liberating the Terminid-infested planets Heath and Angel's Venture. Now, in that process, we got 10 grand to spend on whatever orbital stratagems we want. It's more likely to kill more teammates and bugs. But we got an update in the game. Quote, the path to the barrier planets is clear. Upon each barrier planet, SEAF engineers have begun construction of the Terminid control system, a network of massive towers that will cover each planet in the well-tested neurotoxin known as termicide. Soon, our citizens will be able to rest easy, knowing that their children are safe from the threat of being eaten alive. And that's great.
Squash the bugs. Yeah. Oh, man. Dude, you gotta love something that just decided, you know what? Starship Troopers, the greatest thing known to man. Yeah, let's combine that with Warhammer, the greatest thing known to man. And what do we get? Well, a lot of good stuff from that. Who would have expected? I know. Crazy stuff. So yeah, I wonder how they're gonna do lore here. Because I'm completely fine with the lore being, Rico, there's bugs on the planet, go kill them. And I'm like, aye, chief, but first let me just have, intercourse with the woman over there in the tent. Good times. Horrible command structure, though. Horrible command structure.
Great news and all, but now we've got a brand new major order to undergo as a whole, as the automatons have launched cowardly surprise attacks on multiple highly populated super Earth planets. The community's next task is to now push back the invasion. Guys, do you understand what's happening here? More planets unlock as we complete more of these tasks in game.
Hell yeah, boy.
But more so than that, this is a live game, like truly a live game. Imagine, instead of the darkness showing up and taking Io and all those other planets, but we had a consistent back and forth war with the Witness and his forces. That's essentially what's happening here. Granted,
So, he's essentially trying to say, look at how cool it would be if Destiny 2 was not made by a bunch of idiots who are clueless hacks, don't understand the game, and write like 5-year-olds. I mean, they're taking lessons from this point at Blizzard for writing good storylines. It's absolute travesty.
we are fighting a war on two fronts, but that's the beauty of this game. It is a live game, which takes us to the broader future of Helldivers. What do the developers have planned for this game? What are the kinds of updates and content can we expect to see as
more bug squashing? I'm pretty sure that's what we're gonna see. More greatness.
this game progresses? These are the questions for the game masters to answer. Guys, you know how tabletop games have dungeon masters or game masters that kind of oversee the players and create instances and stories for them? Well, Helldivers 2 has game masters. It's a mixture of tools and real people that decide on a micro and macro level what happens to the live game. And this is all going to be based on player and community successes as well as failures. That's right, there are consequences. We lose a planet. If we are not able to fight off that invasion, there will be consequences. Now, the reason why this is so beautiful is that this is not scripted. This is something that the developers and the game masters have control over. Kind of reminds me of like Hunger Games, right? Where the game maker will just start to spice things up for the hell of it. But let's talk about what game masters.
I mean, Hunger Games are a terrible example because honestly, the Hunger Games were so bad in the actual fight stuff, bro. The Hunger Games themselves are so stupidly boring, it's actually insane. Oh, they start to have the Hunger Games. Bruh, it's like, what do you mean? Just drop them. It was terrible. It was unironically terrible. The Hunger Games. The base Hunger Games were the worst part about the Hunger Games.
Masters are doing already within Helldivers 2, and what the future possibilities look like, and what long-term content plans Arrowhead Game Studio has for the game. Now, before we go any further, I want to mention this quote here from the developers, and this is how bold they are. This was literally posted on their website. A game for everyone is a game for no one. You see a lot of people coming out and saying what they don't like about the game. Maybe they don't like the solo experience, and they're asking for changes to be made to appeal to them. And this is the developers' reply. And I gotta say, fellas, I love it. I love this statement. Now, the Game Master system inside of Helldivers 2 is something that the developers have been working hard on because they want to put the live in live service. Again, as someone who's played Destiny 2 for years, look, there's a lot of things I love about Destiny, but what I don't like is that everything feels very scripted. The narrative, the live game itself, everything is very much on the tracks and not ever really deviating. The developers here, though, they wanted to have a feature that would allow changes to be made to the game in a very direct, almost instantaneous way, and to react to how the community is playing. These Game Masters aren't just tools either. In an interview with PlayStation Access, game director Sagar Baroshi explains, it's a suite of tools and a suite of real-life human beings, not just AI bots, that is observing the gameplay as it's happening and responding in real time. These are things like the buffs or debuffs we're seeing in the game currently, things like the free incendiary minefield stratagem that everyone had access to yesterday, or even the weather on certain planets, like rain lowering visibility or intense heat that makes your weapons overheat faster. Again, these are things that greatly affect your ability in combat.
No, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Not a lot of games do this. Admittedly, you know, don't get sold on this too much, to be honest, because let's be completely real. Obviously, AI is a big part of this, and things do happen according to AI. But you know, they're just saying people touch upon this, and you know, things can change, which is good. Which is good because you know you're kind of keeping it fresh. You're kind of saving the world from bugs, which is good. Which is your job as a citizen. Or are you not a citizen? Well, then go join the army. You know, the ground forces have a pretty high casualty rate, but you know, it is what it is at the end of the day. You know, you can't pick and choose always. So, you know, just kind of deal with that. But otherwise, it's time to become a citizen and squash some bugs. That is the idea. And if you yell for the Emperor while doing it, I mean, that's just bonus points.
These are examples of what the Game Master is able to implement based on how well or how badly the community is doing within the live game. Now, where we're going to see this come into play more noticeably is on the macro scale. And this is when the game changes and updates based on whether or not the community is able to succeed at major orders. Now, this also ties into the story of Helldivers 2, and the devs do have a plan for it. But because the entirety of the game's progression is community driven, it's really up in the air as to how that story will play out. Game writer Stephen Flowers had this to say about the player-driven story. What's unique about the story of Helldivers 2 is that it's driven by the player community. Planning for that is a huge challenge. We have what we think will happen, but we ultimately can't control what the players do, which as a player, I find cool, but as a writer, I find really scary. As for the story ahead, all I can say is that the galaxy would look very different than it does today. Now, when the game started a week ago, right off the bat, we were fighting a war on two fronts. The automatons on one side and the Terminants on the other. But our major order only had us liberating the two Terminant-infested planets, so the automaton planets were left alone for the most part while we pushed back the bugs. Now we have 4 new bug planets to liberate with all new biomes, but now the automatons have pushed forward and moved closer to Super Earth, putting millions of citizens in grave danger. Based on what game director Sabar says here, this is something we should expect to happen regularly, but it sounds like there's way more possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I thought is gonna happen, and it seems like it is happening. It's a pretty simple system, a pretty fun system, because it always kind of keeps you on your toes and whatnot. But the idea is simple. You push back one enemy, and the other enemy kind of, you know, just starts peeking back at you a little bit. It's a pretty simple concept, but it's a good concept. It's a fun concept, so everyone should be happy. You know, there's always... Essentially, what they're trying to do also with this is kind of simple and and really good, honestly. You know why they have 2 types of enemies? Bugs and Rombas with knives? Sometimes 2 knives, by the way. Well, it's because it's variety, okay? How many times can you hell dive to a planet and squash bugs? A lot, probably. But at some point, it's going to get a little bit tedious at the end of the day. So you have only a couple of options: add new bugs, add new things, or on the other side of the galaxy, there's Roombas with knives. How about that for a change? And then you go fight Roombas with knives. It's a pretty good system. I like it. You know, it keeps you on your toes. It keeps you a good chunk of options, and people don't get bored. It's a great system.
This is a quote from him. The enemies also have goals. They will look at what you've done, respond to the way in which you as the community have behaved, and react in a way that changes the face of the galaxy thereafter. So if you're clearing the way to some planets you have to get to, and you take over the next territory in the next one, it's hard to say what the enemies might do in response. They might try to circle around, or meet you head on, or do something else. Now the beautiful thing here, guys, is that there is no reset. There's no like, hey, it's Tuesday, we're going into our next chapter of content. It's not like we do these challenges and all of a sudden we have to wait to reset for things to update. No, this happens, guys, in real time. Now, Sabar also goes on to...
You know what's gonna be part of the end game? I can guarantee you that they're gonna do this. With a system like this, the Roombas get a you know, some kind of doomsday weapon, and you need to stop that. You know, for example, a double Roomba. Yeah, that's what they're making, and that's gonna be end of the galaxy, obviously. Or the bugs, you know, have something that also does a similar thing, like a queen appears or something like that you need to take the opportunity and strike. Otherwise, it's gonna be bad. It's interesting. It gives you raid options, honestly, in a game like this almost. And they could do events like this. You know, this is how they could structure it. The original gameplay is not that many people, right? But if, you know, special events like this happen, you could have a situation where it's an open arena style field, maybe even, and, you know, who knows? Maybe there's like 50 people playing at a time, and it gets kind of crazy. Options like this suddenly become available if you do a story like this. So this is why I'm looking forward for this game a lot, because it has these abilities to spice it up at any moment in time without any big updates, without any, you know, real changes, balance patches, or anything like that, and people are going to be excited about it.
To say that as the story progresses, as Helldivers push back enemy forces, or enemy forces push back the Helldivers, new unique missions might appear, things you never encountered before, and much more. This is outside of new game updates.
Yeah, this is essentially, again, the raids. And a raid gets boring if you're clearing and clearing and clearing and re-clearing again. But what if the raid is just, you know, available for, you know, almost a week or however long it takes you to, you know, liberate the planet from the disgusting Roombas / bugs or whatever, or you fail, and what happens then? It would be interesting. You know, some days there could be more missions with attacking, some days there would be missions with defending. It could be pre-lit.
Content drops. This is simply the game masters progressing the game due to community play. Now, we're already seeing this in week 2, as new defend campaigns have opened up on 2 new automaton invaded planets, with new missions like evacuating civilians or escorting researchers to evacuation zones. So I know I've gone on and on here about the game masters, but it's a really cool feature. And if Helldivers 2 can master this and truly make the game feel live, as a live game should feel, then this is going to be the future for other live service games. Look, I'm not saying that I want more live service games, and I know the debate going on about live service games, but if you're going to do a live service game, then do it right. This is how you do it right. Now, there was another quote from Baroshi. Quote, "The war that you're playing in plays out almost in real time. It's not like in a few weeks the war is going to be over. Players who join us from day one are going to experience the full story. They'll see everything as Super Earth, as arrogant as it is, digs itself into deeper and deeper problems." Now, could those deeper problems be new enemies? Most likely. There is an enemy faction that exists in Helldivers 1, one we haven't seen yet, the Illuminate. The Illuminate are an ancient and technologically advanced alien.
Did you expect anything else? You can easily spice it up by adding another faction.
Alien civilization that threatens Super Earth with its formidable weapons of mass destruction back during the events of the first game. Now, we've heard nothing of this mysterious alien race so far within Helldivers 2. Could they be an upcoming addition to the game's story as we inevitably dig ourselves into deeper and deeper trouble? This brings us to what we do know about future content updates for the game. We know that all future content will be free, which is huge. And via the official Helldivers Discord, Discord, we know that the content updates will include new weapons, new gear, new stratagems, new biomes, and new enemies. So we can see that Helldiver 1 faction coming into play. It's also been speculated that we're going to be seeing a Dune-like sandworm enemy that was also present in the first game.
Hell yeah, baby! That's what I'm talking about. It's spicing a little bit of that Dune Messiah boy. Oh yeah, hell yeah! The Butlerian Jihad. Here we come, baby. You see? Good stuff.
Imagine a permanent boss fight against a giant sandworm as it tunnels through the ground. It can happen. We also know that a roadmap is in the works, and that will be showcased once stability and server issues have been fixed. That seems to be the priority issue for the devs here. Now, during one of the Helldiver 2 trailers, we also got a tease of a mech-like vehicle that we will be able to operate, and it said that it was coming soon after launch. Now, vehicles is a game changer. Now, keep in mind, guys, we still haven't seen everything the game has to offer technically in its current form, because so much of the content depends on us as the community either succeeding or even failing. So on top of all the new features and updates, we'll have things just unlock and happen as time goes on, thanks to our efforts and how the game masters respond to them. In the meantime, Helldiver's creative director said that they are actually looking for more amazing developers that can help us accelerate and beef up our content plans. Jobs will be going up.
I mean, look at this. First you have palworld just, succeeding, and then they try to, make things that people like. And now you have Helldivers succeeding and just making things that people like. Who would have thought? Where you're not putting ideology first to sell your stupid games, then and put something as crazy as just a good experience. Who would have expected this?
Soon, but if you're a senior dev, there's always the open application. Enlist today with Arrowhead GS. You love to see it, guys. I know there's been layoffs.
Good. I hope they don't take anyone from Destiny 2, because those people should never be allowed to even touch a looter shooter in their lives. Okay? If we can get them also off to a distant planet, for example, Australia, that also would be amazing. It is what it is. Anyway, that was our boy Odds the Cross. Nice. Good stuff, baby. Anyway, this was Chris Said. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And have a nice day. Bye-bye.